The purpose of this lesson is to show you how you can ShapeTween text into an object. Let's begin. Open up a new Flash movie. You can use ActionScript 3 or ActionScript 1 and 2. It doesn't matter. We're going to first define our stage size. So I'm going to modify my document, and I'm going to use a half banner size. So the half banner size, the standards for a half banner are 234 pixels by 60 pixels. I'll leave my background color at white, and I'll keep my frame rate at 24 frames per second. Hit OK. So now I have my half banner size. Let me just blow this up so you can see what we're doing. We're going to create our text first. So in our timeline, let's name our text layer. So I'm just going to call it text. There's my empty keyframe. Let's insert text. The text tool is located in the toolbar on the right. Go to the T. When you click on the toolbar, notice your property windows change. This is going to be classic text. The character group allows you to choose your font, your size, and your letter spacing. Letter spacing is the spacing between the letters. You can also choose your color. If you simply click on color, there are all the colors available to you. Notice that you can work with your hexadecimal color if you wish, but you also have your alpha. And then all the way in the corner, I know it's being cut off here, you can see your color wheel. So if the color doesn't exist there, you can open up your color wheel and make a custom color. All right. So that's under color. Look next at the paragraph group. Notice that your alignment tools are located here. I've selected center. So I'm going to reduce my font size, and I can do this by typing in a number or simply dragging over to the left. It's your choice. And let me prepare my text. I can always change my font size later as well, but I can see that that's a little bit big. There we go. A little bit smaller. Type in your text. Happy day. I'm going to make this fit on one line, and I want this to fit inside my half banner. Happy day. Now, in the next video, I will show you the different filters that you can apply to the text, but for today, we are just going to stick with plain text. The next thing I want to do is I want people to be able to see what this text says. So I'm not going to start my animation in frame 1. Let's give them a second so they would be able to read it. So in frame 24, I'm going to insert a keyframe. Why? I want to copy the contents from frame 1 to frame 24. So I hit F6. That's the shortcut to insert a keyframe. I'm going to begin my animation at this point. Now, here's something very important. When you go to animate text, you have to bring the text to its dotted stage. What that means is you have to break this text apart. In order to break the text apart, we go up to the Modify menu, and we can say Break Apart. I tend to use the keyboard shortcut Control B because I find that to be a quicker thing. When you break apart the first time, notice that the words are now broken into individual letters. But we are still not at that dotted stage. The dotted stage, you would see little dots inside your letters. So let's break it apart one more time. Control B. I like my shortcut. Now, look closely and you will see a series of dots. This is what we call the dotted stage. So, I have broken my text apart. I can begin my animation process. Well, how long do I want the animation to take in order for this to happen? I'm going to go out here. I'm going to insert a keyframe. But this time, instead of inserting happy day, I don't want that. I want something else. I'm going to insert a blank keyframe. At this point, I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut F7. F7 inserts a blank keyframe. My blank keyframe is selected. So now it is time for me to draw what I want in my blank keyframe. And what I'm going to do is I could use my brush and I can paint. Let me bring this back down. All right, oops, too small. All right, so I can say, maybe I want happy day to be maybe some hearts. And I can pour in color if I wish. So I've got a little heart there. Maybe I might want to, let's draw some more hearts. And I'm going to switch up. Short thing I could do too is double click on this object and copy it and paste it again. That's a shortcut. If I wanted to, remember you can change the size by using your free transform tool. So I can make it bigger and I can even rotate. Maybe make this one just a little bit wider, and I can rotate this as well. If you feel like changing the color, go ahead. It's your drawing. You can make it anything that you want. Do you remember our color palette and changing the colors? You can make it a gradient if you wish. Here's my gradients, and I can edit my gradients. The thing to know is when you are designing what you want the person to see, you want to make sure that they're in their dotted stage. And when I click on these objects, they certainly are. Let's draw some more stuff here. Maybe a little bit of hearts and an X and an O. Again, anything that you want. All right, I want to animate this. I'm going to start with happy day. I'm going to go with some hearts and some X's and O's. Let's turn our ShapeTween on. Click anywhere between your two keyframes, right click, and say Create ShapeTween. When you play your video, notice that I see it, animation happens, and I have a cool ShapeTween. Don't forget, folks, you can use shape hints if you don't like the way this tweens. You've just created text ShapeTween. You learned about breaking it apart. Now, if I hit Control Enter, it plays my movie for me. But notice how it just loops and loops and loops. That doesn't look right. So what I can do is I can add a stop action. To add a stop action, you could put it on this keyframe, but I do recommend creating a new layer and calling those layers actions. Again, how did I create that new layer? Down here in the bottom left-hand corner, I can insert a new layer. Notice you have an empty keyframe here. This is not where I want the action to stop. So I have to go to the end of my animation. This is the most missed thing. Go to the end of your animation and insert a keyframe. That keyframe can be a blank keyframe with F7, or you can hit F6, which would copy the blank keyframe here. Either one works, F6 or F7. Now that you have the keyframe selected, we're going to add a stop action. So we've worked with F6, we've worked with F7 in this video. We're now going to add F9. F9 opens up our actions. Make sure that you have your keyframe selected. In our actions window, we want to be able to change from action script 3 to action script 1 and 2 because a stop action is very basic. You may not have your timeline controls or any of your global functions open. If your window looks like this, open up your global functions, open up your timeline controls. There it is. That's your stop action. Simply double click and it will appear. This is called action script. This is action script, the language of Flash. You've done it. Close it out. Notice that there's a little A above your keyframe. That's how you know you have an action. Now when you hit Control Enter, your text morphs and stops. You're done.